Hi, this is Bill with Dine Drink Vegas. It is August of 2022, and I'm here in the Triple George Grill. It's in downtown Las Vegas, about a block off the Fremont Street Experience, across the street from the Downtown Grand Hotel, and about a half block from the Mob Museum. I've just had a fantastic lunch here on a weekday, and what I want to do real quick is show you this space, and then, because on this channel we never make you watch us eat, I'll show you some still pictures of what I had and tell you about what I enjoy. So, one of the things about this space is that it is absolutely huge. There is the bar, and there is the main entrance. Some wine selections and what they call their wine room, but then going in here is the first of the dining rooms, which has its own separate service bar, as well as a large seating space. Now that's not being used right now because it's lunchtime on a Wednesday, but this place is incredibly large. Now going back, this is the bar where I ate my meal, and what there are, and I don't want to disturb anybody who's dining right now, but a whole lot of small private spaces where people can dine. For example, this one, which has a TV, and another one there. Going back, each of these things to my left is a small private booth. Okay, nobody in here. So if you need to have a private conversation with somebody, or you just got a small group, you could do that. You can see into the kitchen quite easily. And I will say I really love the food that came out of the kitchen, particularly relative to the very low price point they charged me for it. Now, going back around, you can see that the bar has almost any kind of whiskey you can imagine. And that was one of the things I really enjoyed. I had a couple of cocktails with my lunch, and that was great. So let me walk back around. This is where I sat for my meal just now. The service was fantastic. The food came out of the kitchen incredibly quickly. At lunchtime on a weekday, most of the clients here seem to be people who work at City Hall or down at the local courthouse. Now there's certainly some tourists who are coming in from Fremont Street, but there weren't a huge number of them. I love the pictures and the artwork on the wall of Vegas past and Vegas history. You can certainly sit at the bar here, even if you had a small group, and watch whatever game is going on. And then they have another seating space back here, which would be suitable for large parties. What all this means is that this hotel, or rather this restaurant, can seat an incredibly large number of people very, very quickly. And they do an excellent job of keeping it staffed to serve those folks. Now, I'm going to walk outside because there's also some outdoor seating that I want to show you before I talk about what it is that I enjoy. Fancy coffee machine, if that's what you want after your dinner. I'll also, as I walk outside, give you a sense of exactly where we are. So, again, it is August, and it's August in Vegas. I don't care to sit outside, but this is one of the other seating areas for the restaurant, which would be great depending on what time of year you were here. That is the Fremont Street Experience down there, which means if you're staying at one of the hotels on Fremont Street, it's about a 1-block walk. I walked here from El Cortez. Across the street is the Downtown Grand, and the Downtown Grand advertises this as one of their restaurants, as well as the Mob Museum right there. So this restaurant is incredibly well located, and it's got some really great deals on meals. I'm going to come back in just a minute and show you some of the great things that I had to eat, as well as my cocktails. So if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you already know that I started the meal with the cocktail. This particular time I felt like a whiskey drink, so I ordered an old-fashioned. It wasn't the very best old-fashioned I'd ever had. It was probably a little bit sweeter than I preferred, but he used a good amount of bitters. He talked to me about what kind of whiskey I wanted in it. It was a nice drink that was fairly priced, and I enjoyed my conversation with the bartender. Later on in the meal, I also wound up ordering a Martini, called my vodka, and I did a little bit of a different thing with it. I asked him to put an orange twist in there. He was able to pull that just fine. So the bartending staff is really high quality, particularly if you sit there at the bar and they'll talk to you about what you want, and it's way cheaper than ordering an upscale cocktail at one of the restaurants on the Strip. I wound up getting an appetizer, specifically the shrimp cocktail, because I'm a sucker for a shrimp cocktail, and it described itself as having this mango salsa on it, and I was thinking that'd just be a little bit of a chutney on the side, and it wasn't. It was this beautiful artistic plate. The shrimp tasted fresh, which is a weird trick when you're in the middle of the desert in Las Vegas. But they
the shrimp tasted good. There was a nice classic cocktail sauce in there with a mango relish, and it was a really good start to my meal. It turns out, though, that I probably didn't have to order the appetizer, because one of the things which made this restaurant great, and I talked about this a little bit in the video intro, is the price is comprehensive of your meal and your starch and the vegetable. I had this New York strip here, and again, the cut was just a little bit tough, but that's not saying it was tough, right? It wasn't the most tender one I'd ever had. But again, it was $33, including the sides. It was cooked perfectly. It was actually seasoned pretty nicely. One of the things I get frustrated with at a lot of steakhouses is when they don't season their meat. It was a good steak. It was a great deal on lunch. It would have been an even better deal at dinner. So I enjoyed that. So overall, how does the Triple George Steakhouse rate? So it kind of depends on what you're going for. As a lunch space, it's absolutely one of my favorites in Vegas. As a dinner space, sometimes I prefer something a little bit more upscale, a little bit fancier, but even then, you can't spend that kind of money on every trip you take all of the time. This is still very nice. It had a classic old school vibe. It was very much a place where locals go, and the bar service was top notch. I would love to read your comments in the comments section below. What do you think about this place? What are your favorite steakhouses, particularly downtown? And if you've got any questions, put those in the comments section. I will be delighted to answer them. I'd also really appreciate your support for this channel by having you click like and subscribe. But thanks so much for watching our video, and happy travels.